everyone, welcome back. I am so excited to talk about this book today. Up on your screen, Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. This book came out in June of 2017, so I am almost 3 years behind in this, and I have been wanting to read it in forever. And finally, I was like, no, I'm reading it. I'm putting everything aside, and I am reading this book. And there's a good reason, too, because I kept seeing it over and over and over again. You know why? It was on the New York Times bestseller for 54 weeks. That's right, 54 weeks. And then that was like on the New York Times bestseller hardcover. You go to the ebooks, it was on there for 2 years at least. I think I just saw that it's not there, and I'm like, what happened to that book? But really, how long can you stay on that list? Lisa, this book was crazy, and there is a reason why this was on the New York Times bestseller for so long. Up on your screen, 352 pages. They call it historical fiction, and I call it sisters fiction. I'm calling it both because you guys know I love a great sisters fiction. And even though it's historical fiction, it's about sisters, so we get to call it both. Why do I love this book so much? 5 top reasons up on your screen. Let's just get right into it because there is so much to talk about. Number 1, Lisa does timelines so amazing. I love an author that can work timelines. It is so hard to keep you interested. Think about keeping you interested in a book and then keeping you interested in like 2 separate stories. Well, when you go into timelines, that's what has to happen. You have to be equally interested in both stories. And that's why this book was so popular, because she did it. She made 2 stories into one. I loved each one of them. I wasn't even looking forward to one or the other. You know, sometimes that happens where you're reading a book that has 2 timelines and you're like, no, I want this chapter. No, I want this chapter. That's not how it was. I loved both of them so much equally. I'm trying to think of the words to describe how amazing she does it. There you go. Amazing. Amazing. I'm going to put it all over the screen. Amazing. Just amazing. It was so good. Let's move on. I just finished this book too, so I'm like still really emotional about it because the ending is so good, and we're not going to talk about the ending. Number 2, Real Foss. Now, her timeline is the 1939 timeline. And I'm going to get into this story in a little bit, so just keep watching. But let's just say she's the main character of the past. 1939. She's a 12-year-old little girl. And that's what I thought that Lisa did so crazy good, was that she took the voice of a 12-year-old girl. And when I'm telling you, you are in her story, you are like in her story. You are there. You are right there going through everything with her. I loved her so much. Her ending is amazing. Oh, I could just go on and on and on. I'm trying to like reel it in because this book makes me so excited. Number 3, Avery. She is the story that takes place in the present day. She's a federal prosecutor. She's a lawyer, but her dad runs for office. Her dad is always running for office. This is this girl's life. Avery's story, going from someone who lives one kind of life and then her life kind of takes a 360 and she starts questioning her life. And don't we love stories about women who get to a certain point and then they've lived by someone else's rules for so long, and then all of a sudden they're like, wait a second, what do I want? Not what everybody else around me wants, but what do I want? And that's Avery. She's trying to figure out, what does she want for her life? Not what her dad wants, not what her mom wants, not what society wants, but what does she want? And I love that. I love her so much. I didn't want to give her up. I really didn't. Can I just keep her? I wanted to keep her. Do you ever read a book and you want to keep the characters in your life? That's how she is. I want to just keep her. So I want to keep her in my life. I want to be a friend. You know, I want her to stay here with me. And others who can make that happen, they are rare. So rare. And that's why this book is so good. Number 4. This is where we're going to get into the history part. Georgia Tann. Didn't know anything about this woman. I'm going to post pictures up there of her. She operated the Tennessee Children's Home, which was it was like an adoption agency that everybody thought was amazing. As a matter of fact, I read a story that Eleanor Roosevelt actually talked to this woman. She thought she was doing amazing things, and then hidden behind the curtain, so to speak, she is selling children, kidnapping children, selling children. It is such a sad story. And when they started to look into her and they started to catch on to what she was doing, she died of cancer. So she never had to serve a day in jail or have to answer for anything she ever did, which to me is really sad. But I don't know. I had such horrible feelings about this woman. I can't even tell you. And Wikipedia doesn't even do her justice at all. You read this book, and I don't know. I'd love to ask Lisa where she found this story, because you can tell that she was so emotionally invested in telling us this story, which happened from the 1920s until George died in 1950. So for 30 years, poor women, single moms were getting their children taken from them. How sad is that? It's so sad. I love historical fiction where I'm learning something. She really lets you know who this woman was. She does an amazing job with that. Number 5, because it's Lisa. Because Lisa has written so many books, and this is my first one by her. Heads up, I'm reading her next one already. I started it right away. I finished this book, and she's got a book out that made the New York Times list. It came out April 7th. Up on your screen, I'll put the Book of Lost Friends. This book came out April 7th, has been on the New York Times hardcover bestseller since the day it came out. So as soon as I finished this one, I'm like, yeah, I'm reading it. This one takes place during the Civil War. I can't wait. I just started it. That's what you will be seeing next. Trust me. I only do 5-star book reviews, but I already know it's going to be 5 stars. Sometimes that's why I never tell you what I'm reading next, because I don't know. I don't know whether I'm going to do a book review on it. I know what I'm reading next, but I don't know if I'm going to do a review on it. I can tell you I'm going to be doing a review on this. I can already tell. There we go. Did I talk fast enough? I was like... I feel like I'm talking really fast, but I wanted to get it all in. There's a reason. If you want to go read her new book, I suggest reading this one first. I know it doesn't connect, but it's always good to read other books by the authors. I really try to do that. When I have the time, if I'm really invested in an author, I want to read other things that they have written. That's how I felt. I knew she had this book coming out, and I was like, you know what? You never did get to read Before We Were Yours. And I'm like, just go read that one, and then you can read her new one. So that's exactly what I did, and I am so happy that I did. I love her so much. I cannot wait to see what she's writing next. I hope everybody's doing well, staying safe. My reading's getting better. Life is just a little bit better right now. I don't know. I mean, we're still in the house, but it's the new normal, right? So my reading's getting better, and I'm feeling more accomplished, and I got to put makeup on today. So that's good. I can walk around the house with makeup on. Everyone, indie bound for when we do get to go back to bookstores. Amazon, I listened to it. I read it. Do both. The audio was amazing. I loved it. I love a good audio, and I love that I could carry it around with me. And I'm going on lots of walks, so I like to carry it with me and you already know what my next book is, until my next